we're early. Sometimes it's good to be early. But our show starts at a specific time. You should remember that. Let's get started then, shall we?
Dillon, I don't give a what you think about a co-host and freshen up my show.
It might not be flashy, but sometimes you just got to toss another person to make a statement.
My show's about the people's podcast. Everyone has a voice. I don't need a co-host. Go listen to one of the other 5,000 shows with a co-host because they don't have a mouth like the big guy.
Opie, are you a career killer with Tim Sabian, yourself, and many others?
Be myself. Never had real issues with those people. They just understood that I was a different bird. The rest of them, though, I'm like, oh, shut up. I'm paying your salary because the ratings are so good, so shut up.
Right.
Live from
Somewhere.
it's
Dillon.
Good whatever to you whenever you are watching this episode of Co-Host Auditions. I am your co-host, Dillon. This is my self-taped audition for host Kati Morton. She is a therapist, and she is going to do a diagnosis of some fictional characters for us today. And I do have my second window open here to see if YouTube decides to kick this, claiming that I have violated some sort of They're just looking to strike people, it seems, not nowadays. It was transformative content when I was doing Corey Feldman, and this was a series. It is only down to 2 now on Kati Morton's channel, because, once again, the YouTube gods have decided, hey, this transformative thing, no longer transformative. So let's go on and get to Kati Morton, a licensed therapist, and we make a great tag team today with our colors. She has on her tan jacket with her white undershirt, as do I, but this is actually from the main event. I just wanted to show you that we are matching. Michael Scott, of course, will be the main event, but we have a psychoanalysis of Angela Martin up first.
Hey.
Before we get to the Michael Scott psychoanalysis, and I'm not sure who the third one was on her channel, because YouTube was like, fuck off. We no longer consider this transformative content transformative.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Psychoanalyzing Characters from the NBC TV show, The Office. Today, I'm going to analyze...
And this is indeed a good-looking therapist. I think I need a therapist who is not quite attractive. And when I did go to therapy, she was not a bad-looking woman, but not very super sexy. Those eyebrows, in particular, plucking them to be really sexy lady type. We're supposed to get those eyebrows up there, not these eyebrows here, as I just mistakenly did. But what is up with Angela, Miss Kati Morton?
Drum roll, please. Our very own accountant and cat lover, Angela Martin. And obviously, Angela is a fictional character, and my assessment of her behaviors is for entertainment purposes only. But make sure...
What other purposes would they be for other than entertainment? This isn't a serious diagnosis because it is indeed a fictional character. Oh, I guess because people would extrapolate this and apply it to other people in their life to be like, oh, hey, you're an Angela. Obviously, let's see. Let's place our bets. What is Angela? Does she have the narcissistic personality disorder? Does she have the borderline personality disorder? I'm thinking borderline. My money's on borderline. Place your bets now. What is Angela Martin?
Make sure you stay tuned until the very end when I reveal what, if any, diagnosis I feel fits her character. Right off the bat, I just want to say that Angela may be the most morally bankrupt character on The Office. But it's kind of a close race with Creed, if I'm honest. And now I know that...
But Creed is so lovable with his moral bankruptcy, whereas Angela is not.
Is a really strong statement, but let's talk about her and some of the examples that demonstrate her lack of morals and what makes Angela who she is. And the first thing that comes to mind when considering Angela's character is how
Or as Tony Danza would say, Angeler.
judgmental she is. She is constantly putting Kevin down, calling him stupid, and making fun of him. Not to mention,
It's an easy target. Kevin completely, totally takes it too. He is fat and bald and will let you shit on him all day. Not like those gifs that Umlaut has been posting of people taking a shit on other people, but figurative shit.
how often she criticizes Pam, calling her the office mattress, and constantly making comments about how she dresses, implying that it's not appropriate. And when she finds out that Oscar is gay, she doesn't want him to touch her, and she uses hand sanitizer whenever she has to engage with him.
Taking the early 1990s stance of, oh, you're gay, you probably have the HIV, and they really didn't know how it was transmitted at that time. There's a Captain Planet episode all about it. And Dayla disagrees with Angela being the least moral, the worst person on The Office. He thinks it's Jim, who, his jokes, his practical jokes, were very mean-spirited. But once again, like Creed, a very lovable, mean-spirited joke with Jim, as a lot of people thought. Creed, a very terrible person, but very entertaining and lovable.
Sure, sometimes I watch Will and Grace, and I want to throw up. It's terribly loud.
The interesting thing about how judgmental she is that she doesn't hold herself to the same standard. She is so incredibly entitled. And when she
I do believe people in this universe that we are in, this Dabbleverse, know someone just like that, who do not hold themselves to the same standard in which they will rag on people and really get on their case for.
Finds out the senator is cheating on her with Oscar, she hires someone to take out Oscar's kneecaps. And even when Dwight says that they were the first ones to break her marriage vows with the senator, that doesn't deter her. She pretty much calls everyone else out for things that she also does. I mean, let's be honest. She slept with more people than
Wait.
Pam,
I
also
paused that at the wrong time. I was about to comment. So she got around The Office more than I realized. I did stop watching The Office around season 3 or 4 when I was like, hey, every episode is kind of the same, where Michael Scott just calls a big old meeting at the end of it. And once Michael Scott left, they like every single sitcom, they tried to keep that cash cow going, even though they shouldn't have. That 70s show, I think, is the worst example of Kelso and Eric Foreman both saying we're not in for the final season, but nevertheless, they were like, we're going to fucking make this happen, no matter how illogical it is.
does. I mean, let's be honest. She slept with more people than Pam or Phyllis or any of the other women in the office, so why does she keep slut-shaming them? I'm not sure. It's as if she doesn't think the same rules apply to her, or that she's just innately better than everyone else.
Our therapist kind of resembles Angela right here, doesn't she? She's got a look very similar to Angela right there. And Dayla pointing out how morally bad that Jim is as well, that he stole Pam from the warehouse guy. And that was all set up for us to be rooting for Jim and think that warehouse guy was a dickhead. She was engaged and he stole her. Then he became a successful person. Yeah, I didn't stick around. I feel like I remember the warehouse guy leaving the office. So he became a successful person. Good for him. Whereas Jim, he just had no ambition to climb up in the office ladder, where Dwight definitely did. And unfortunately, he did not replace Michael Scott's position. They brought in, James Spader, instead of making Dwight the guy in charge. But that dynamic, I'm sure the writers talked about it and said, no, that dynamic would not work. That's actually a funny storyline. They didn't acknowledge the cameraman and the boom mic men too much in that show. That's funny that Pam tried to get with the boom mic guy. I do not recall that episode.
Next up is how little she cares for other people. And the biggest example of this is that she cheats on her fiance, Andy, with Dwight. And even though everyone in the office finds out about it because Phyllis had walked in on her and Dwight having sex right after she got engaged to Andy, she never comes clean about it on her own.
Hey, so
Okay, I was about to ask which fucking one is Andy. That's right. That's Andy, part of the cast that came over from the branch that was closed down. And oh yeah, Jim was hooking up with what's her face as well, and just completely tossed her off to the side and neglected her feelings. Rashida Jones, that's right, Rashida Jones. He completely emotionally neglected her when it was like, oh, my old flame will indeed accept me. Yeah, Jim and Pam. I will have to revisit their relationship. They are two awful people that ended up together, aren't they?
since Moreau Lady has such particular impossible to perceive taste, I have made non-refundable deposits at 4 totally different wedding locales. Hot air balloons over Napa Valley, world famous Walt Disney's Epcot Center, scuba diving wedding in the Bahamas, and the Wilkes-Barre Marriott Ballroom C.
Dangerous, tacky, sharks, haunted. No. Hurry, we have to make this fast.
Let's do this thing.
Hey, I have a nice.
And that is very erotic to be screwing around in the workplace. I don't think, nope, I've never done it in the workplace. That's something that Angela has done that I have not, and I thought I was a debaucherous fuck.
Comforter and several cozy pillows. I usually read a chapter of a book and it's lights out by 8:30. That's how I sleep at night.
Instead, she does what's best for her. She pretends it didn't happen, and even when Andy confronts her, he has to ask her multiple times and in multiple ways if she is in fact sleeping with Dwight. And she never thought about how this would make Andy feel, or even how upset Dwight might get when he found out that she was sleeping with Andy as well. Not to mention the fact that she lied about.
So these do sound like, as an amateur psychologist myself, hard on the amateur and light on the psychologist. This sounds like a sociopathic behavior, yes?
Who the factual father of her child was without thinking about how that could upset Dwight or the senator. I also think it's hurtful and self-serving that she supports Andy and Dwight dueling or fighting over her. She wants the attention and therefore feels it's complete.
She gets off on being the prize. Some women feel degraded by being the prize. Degraded? Degraded? I think both those words work, right? I'm going to have to check my Merriam-Webster. But many women do not want to be the prize. Angela was ready to be the prize after the end of that duel.
Completely okay for Dwight and Andy to hurt each other.
Angela, you have to put a stop to this right now.
I will respect the results of the duel.
But the more I look at this,
Hey, I didn't even know that was
I think
upcoming. Indeed, it's a duel.
Actually might have a diagnosable mental illness. But let's see, because we aren't finished assessing her yet. Angela clearly only marries the senator because of his status and because she believes that she should.
Okay, I was out of the office loop by the time that Angela married the senator. This is completely unknown territory to me. I am not sure what the fuck is going on with Angela and the senator.
Should only be associated with people like him. Most of the time, she doesn't even say his name. She just calls him the senator, which is why I actually can't even remember. Oh, yeah, it's Robert. It's Robert. I think that's his name. But there are multiple moments.
And once again, just more about status of being married or engaged to the senator, not Robert. Robert doesn't speak anything of the status of this person who I'm romantically linked with, but the senator, oh my goodness, there's only 2 of those per state, not like one of those lowly House of Representative fucks.
Moments where she acts like she's better than everyone else in the office now, as if because she married someone of status, she suddenly got better. Like she says the Christmas party isn't nice enough for him to come to until it's the, Michael's class.
I'm a little late to the king of all diffs. I think you're responding to the fucking around at work there on the I have. Well done. I think that's what you were speaking of at that moment. And nicely done, you debaucherous fucker. You have gone places where this kinky twat has not gone.
Christmas. And she even asked Pam if she still has the plans for her dream wedding since she and Jim had their quote unquote
applause. Nicely done, sir.
Ironic wedding. So rude.
Almost getting caught makes it much more sexy.
To her wedding yet because she's not sure how many senators and members of Congress are going to attend, and they have to invite them first before the regular people. Ugh. And she loves the attention and status that she gets from that relationship. And she acts as though other people are jealous of her and her relationship, which is honestly why it's so just hilarious to me when the senator publicly comes out as gay and says he's in love with his chief of staff, and she's just like standing right there next to him. Oh, such a good moment.
Theory: Angela has an enlarged clitoris, so the senator really got off on Angela's enlarged clitoris.
But I think that this rolls into another interesting personality trait. Angela's
I wasn't
obsession
asking
with
you,
power,
Siri.
or her unfounded belief that she is powerful. And the first example of this is that she's in charge of the party planning committee. And from the very beginning, like season 1, she is terrible to other members of it. When they're planning Meredith's surprise party, Phyllis shyly recommends, we could do streamers, starts rattling off color options. And since this is taking like a lot more time than it really needs to, Pam pipes up and says, let's go with green. To which Angela replies, I think green is kind of whorish. And she uses her status as the head of that committee to constantly put people down, make people feel bad, and to feel better about herself.
Phyllis, I need you to pick up green streamers at lunch.
I thought you said green was whorish.
No, orange is whorish.
So I had a couple of ideas.
Hey, there's Rashida. I first remember Rashida showing up in Boston Public, and she has always been a good-looking lady. I was a background actor on one of the shows she was in, and I forget what the fuck it was called, but it was kind of like The Naked Gun, where she was in the Leslie Nielsen position, and I played Man with Axe in Head. So I forget what fucking episode it is, but I'm the man with an axe in his head. They brought me in for 2 days, one to measure me for the apparatus that was holding the axe, appearing to hold the axe in my head, and the next day outside the hospital as the man with axe in head.
To make the Stanford people feel more at home. Each year we have a Christmas raffle.
It would never work here.
Okay. Another idea was karaoke.
No.
A Christmas drinking game.
Yes. God help you.
What?
These are all terrible ideas. And none of them are on the theme of a Nutcracker Christmas.
Karaoke could be. I am a fan of karaoke at times myself. I dabble in singing songs very amateurishly. I haven't practiced Scatman, though. I need to practice that at home. And what's funny is you would think that the hardest part of karaokeing Scatman would be Scatman, but no, that's the funny part. You can just, if you can ramble on in nonsense well enough, you can do that. But the actual verses, there are actual verses in which go kind of quick to the Scatman, and that's actually a song about him overcoming his stutter. So a very nice message in that Scatman song.
I think you should.
And once again, Scatman, like the singing type, not like the GIFs that Umlaut posts.
Leave.
You're kidding.
You tried this out. It's clearly not for you. It's time to go. Come on. Please. Thank you.
And another example is how she also pushes Dwight, who's her boyfriend at the time, to talk to Jan.
This lady, Kati Morton, she is analyzing people from sitcoms the same reason that Office Ladies, the podcast, exists. Trying to get some views and some clicks. People have perpetually loved The Office. I've been rewatching Seinfeld myself. Season 7 is a really fun season, but I think they got a new assistant director. I'm seeing a lot more bad background actors in season 7 than I was in season 6. And it took Seinfeld a few seasons to find their groove. Whereas some sitcoms like Raising Hope, right off the bat, it was fantastic. But then they lost it immediately in season 2 of Raising Hope. And Seinfeld, the early seasons, they had not found their groove yet. Whereas The Office, early seasons, Michael Scott was more mean-spirited. It was more like a one-for-one with the British version before they found their own identity and made him a lovable goof.
and to tell her that he can run the branch better than Michael. And when he comes back and thinks he's in charge for that little period of time after seeing Prentice the dentist, he tells her that she can be in charge of the women. And she gives this creepy, menacing grin and then says, "Goodbye, Kelly Kapoor." Oh, gives me the willies. And finally, Angela is
You hear that? She takes multiple willies at once. Fuck yeah, Katie.
only nice to other people or calls them her quote unquote friends when it personally benefits her. Like, for example, when Dwight Mercy kills Angela's cat Sprinkles, she turns to Pam to ask if Roy ever killed one of her cats and looks for her support.
I'm having relationship problems. And since you're always having relationship problems, I thought you'd be able to give me some advice. What's wrong?
Oh, and by the way, Pam, I don't know the actress's name. She was once, I think, married, definitely romantically involved with James Gunn, but not anymore.
I have this crazy thought that I know is crazy. That maybe Dwight killed my cat. When I got home, Sprinkle's body was in the freezer where Dwight said he left her. But all my bags of frozen French fries had been clawed to shreds. Oh. Something's not right. The vet's doing an autopsy. Angela, I'm sorry. Did Roy ever kill one of your cats?
So it sounds like he's very much like Amanda Bynes' co-host, where it's the blood moon, so we have got to make an animal sacrifice.
More of a dog person.
But as soon as she doesn't need Pam, she's terrible to her. For example, she tells Pam that
I think I would like to cut out the co-host from Amanda Bynes' podcast and do that in a variation of a co-host audition. That would be fun. Take out that Jesus and insert this Jesus.
she's constantly playing what she calls Pam Pong and notes how many times Jim goes up to the reception to talk to her. It's just to make her uncomfortable. And even when Jim and Pam are late to their own wedding, she agrees with Phyllis that the reason that they're late is because Pam didn't think she would actually make a good wife. Or how she judges Pam on her pregnancy and calls social services on her because she's drinking some tea that has a little bit of caffeine in it. Oh my God, Angela is just so incredibly mean to Pam. And she also does this to Dwight.
I think there's a good cause. Pam and Jim, as we kind of rambled into, are kind of the most terrible people on the show, low key, because they're supposed to be the ones we're rooting for. But when you really take a look at it, they're the shitbags.
Dwight, if you think about it, says she loves him, then she dumps him, still sleep with him sometimes, gets engaged to other people and married to other people. And then when her marriage to the senator isn't going well, she reaches out to him for help. She always expects him to come to her aid. She even does this to Oscar, treating him terribly for years, acting in homophobic ways. Remember, like all the hand sanitizing and telling him not to touch her?
Yep, you mentioned that earlier about the hand sanitizer. But was that a Mr. Monk thing that they only showed during that point? Because Mr. Monk, I believe it was a racial thing in an episode that a guy was like, "Oh, really? You're gonna put that hand sanitizer on after touching me, huh?" No, this is for everybody, not just for a certain race of people.
Sure. Until she needs some support and somewhere to live after the divorce with the senator and then getting kicked out of her apartment. And yes, I know Oscar felt bad because he was sleeping with the senator, but she's just terrible until she needs something. And I have to mention this just because it's so incredibly odd, but she licked her cats. People, she licked, meowed, and hissed and made.
Oh, so she's like Elisa Jordana, who will get very personal with her pets.
Cat noises like, you're like, what the actual fuck is going on?
Where is that bad cat?
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't need.
This is getting weird.
Is she cleaning the cat with her tongue?
And you do see the angle that they're shooting that, where the actress didn't exactly need to be licking the cat. She just needed to be close to licking the cat, and it would look like that she's licking the cat.
Oh.
Has this been on the entire time?
I have no idea.
I was looking at pictures of food on my computer.
Oh, sorry I'm late.
Oh, hairball joke.
I want to get that image out of my head. The psychological issues that go behind licking a cat are not things I want to go into.
And she entered into
Well, being that you are the gay one in the office, you don't understand how licking the cat isn't anything but disgusting.
a sex contract with Dwight. So crazy. And she had this punch card like you'd normally get for, buying sandwiches at a sandwich shop, but she used it for sex and he would have to punch it. It's, you guys, I had to get this off my chest because it's just so incredibly bizarre.
Yeah, get it off your chest. We'll go to your OnlyFans and check it out.
And
doesn't look like those are huge knockers there, but you are an attractive woman, so we will check out those average knockers of yours.
And it's odd and just part of, I guess, what makes Angela. In summation, Angela is super judgmental. She doesn't care about other people. She thinks she's better than everyone else in the office and revels in any small amount of power that she gets. Not to mention she exploits her friendships. Now, there are obviously a lot of other examples, not to mention other personalities.
I just started paying attention to the books that she has on her shelf there. It's the one that says recipes that jumped out at me because obviously she is collecting those on her own. OCD Love Story. And really can't make out the other titles. But the handwritten recipes, Katie is collecting those herself. That isn't something that she bought.
Personality traits.
So those are unique.
Angela Martin. However, based on what I believe to be her main traits, I would have to diagnose her with narcissistic personality disorder because it's diagnosed as follows.
Did I say narcissistic personality disorder? I think I might have thrown that out as an option, but I was putting my money on something else. So lost my money on that. Those who put their money on narcissistic personality disorder, collect your winnings. Angela, according to this licensed therapist, has narcissistic personality disorder.
A pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy, beginning in early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts by 5 or more of the following. Number 1, has a grandiose sense of self-importance. Number 2, is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Number 3.
Well, I have known that I am a narcissist to some level. I mean, I attempted to be an actor for a number of years, so there's got to be a certain amount of narcissism involved with that. I don't know. Let's see if I tick enough boxes to be this NPD.
Number 3, believes he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with special or high status people, such as a senator. Number 4, requires excessive admiration. Number 5, has a sense of entitlement. Number 6, is interpersonally exploitive, like exploiting her friendships. Number 7, lacks empathy or is unwilling to recognize or identify with.
Nope, my conscience definitely exists. I feel dirty when I do episodes on people that I feel like I am punching down on, even if they're a bigger channel than me. There's some people that just have mental issues that I goof on here that I'm like, I feel bad for goofing on this person.
With the feelings and needs of others. Number 8, is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of her. And number 9, shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. And finally, keep in mind that this is just for entertainment purposes. And I would need to...
Okay, and now we've got the outro for the episode. We will get to Michael Scott in just one moment. Just a quick shill segment to thank you for watching this episode and ask of you to hit that like button, the subscribe. Thank you for chatting. When you comment after the video is done, that also helps in the algorithm. And if you would like any sort of creative nonsensory from me, I do enjoy script doctoring, any type of performance. If you need someone for your stand-up show to be a nice interlude, I can help out there as well. I have my tight 1 minute that you want to put somewhere in the middle when you have a whole bunch of comics. hey, let me tell you about myself. Let me tell you about myself. Let me tell you about myself. That's the whole reason that I devised this tight 1 minute, is to be in the middle of a comedy showcase and give the audience something fucking different. Dillon from somewhere at gmail.com. Actually, I have to get together with my potential guest for Chatting with Beloved Chatters, Dillon from somewhere at gmail.com. Because I do have a tight schedule this week. I am doing some brand ambassadoring. So if they can't make it at a certain time, I will be less flexible than usual. I've got a Discord, and I will be reactivating the voice chat in the new year after people took some time to calm down. There was a bit of drama too many times in a row till I was like, maybe it's the holidays. Calm the fuck down, folks. But we have a gift channel that Umlaut hasn't taken to the direction of rotten.com in quite a while. And also, what is this game with Annie tomorrow? Unfortunately, I do have a brand ambassador position, which I have to run off right after this show and won't be able to join this week. But that's a temp position. So when I get a regular job, I should be back in there. Annie's What Is This Game tomorrow at what is it? 1 p.m. Eastern. Look at me doing the time conversion in my head. What? I should know that by now. But on to the second part of this diagnosis of office characters.
I'm Anna.
No, Anna, not you. I am looking for Katie.
People say I'm the best YouTuber.
Anna actually also had a diagnosis of Michael Scott, but she had not upgraded her microphone at the time. So maybe we will visit psychology with Dr. Anna at another time. But when I discovered this diagnosis of Michael Scott, Katie here had a better mic, and we have the same outfit. So here we go with some tag team action of a licensed therapist and an amateur twat talking about Michael Scott's diagnosis in psychology.
YouTuber. They say, I've never watched a YouTuber like this before. If you are as big of a fan of The Office as I am, you are in for a treat. Because today I'm going to psychoanalyze the regional manager of Dunder Mifflin Scranton, Michael Scott. And obviously, Michael is a fictional character.
She's got a more stylish jacket than I do. I do have the leather elbow pads here, but she has two different colors, a two-toned jacket. Very fancy of Katie.
And my assessment of his behaviors are for entertainment purposes only. But stay tuned until the end when I reveal what, if any, diagnosis I feel fits Michael's character. Now, Michael has a lot of interesting characteristics. The first one I want to address is his elevated sense of self.
Katie's eyebrows still very rounded, but look a little less dramatic than the other video. And I'm a fan of curlier hair than I am of straight hair. Maybe that's the narcissist in myself looking for someone with beautiful hair like mine that is curly. So I'm liking this do more than her straight do from the Angela video.
Very first episode, he demonstrates his belief that he is better than other people in the office. In this clip, it's him proving to Jim that he is a better salesman.
All right, Jim, your quarterlies look very good. How are things going at the library?
Oh, I told you I couldn't close.
And once again, season 1 Michael Scott was different than every other season of Michael Scott when they were just doing the British Office again in America, and then they made him more of a lovable goof in the following seasons. And I think they had him like kind of with a thinning hairline, but kind of what looks like hair plugs in this first season before they got rid of that.
Close it, so.
So you've come to the master for guidance? Is this what you're saying, Grasshopper?
Actually, you called me in here, but yeah.
This is also shown in many, many episodes. Like that time that he challenged the guys in the warehouse to a quote-unquote friendly basketball game. Or when he tells Dwight that he can't see his old award speeches because people would remember what he'd said. As if. And when he gets offended that Pam set him up with her landlord, when she is kind, attractive, and, most importantly, his age. Now, I know Michael's egotistical behavior is really just overcompensation for how badly he feels about himself. But I felt like this personality trait had to be mentioned.
Okay, Ryan, you have Daryl.
And once again, looking at his hair there, this has to be season 1. And I don't know if I would lump season 1 Michael Scott into the rest of the Office Michael Scott.
Not lying.
Next, I want to address his incessant need for attention and to be liked. Again, this trait is shown throughout the 7 seasons Michael is a part of. But one of the earlier examples of it is the episode called The Injury. This is where Michael burns his foot on his George Foreman grill and wants special treatment all day.
Okay, I remember that episode. That really actually made me laugh. Anytime we got into Michael Scott's living in squalor for no reason, like going to his car and it just being a complete mess of trash, which, by the way, me and my cousins kind of had that issue. It seemed like we were in competition in our 20s to who could have the biggest pile of trash in their car. And with me, I had it to the point of anyone riding in the passenger seat kind of had to have their feet up where it was parallel with the seat. But my cousin took it to a different level in his truck of having so much trash in there that he could drive in the HOV lane and wouldn't be bothered because his stack of cigarettes and 7-Eleven trash looked like a person, and the police just let him go because that pile of trash got him by in the HOV lane.
He insists on using crutches and wants them to treat him as if he has a physical disability, and gets so upset that they aren't doing what he wants that he calls a meeting in the conference room where he compares.
Calling a meeting into the conference room was the end of 90% of the episodes. As I said, that's why I stopped watching. I was like, oh, another meeting in the conference room to end another episode. Yeah, I've seen this a bunch. Enough.
His injury to the property manager's need for a wheelchair.
Morning, everyone. Don't freak out. I forbid anybody to freak out. Clearly, I have had a very serious accident, but I will recover, God willing. I just want to be treated normally today. Normal would.
Did he have a hot plate too? That's two things that I kind of remember, and I might be thinking of another show of having a George Foreman grill and a hot plate, and that is really all they have to heat up their food.
Actually be good, considering the trauma that I've been
You
through.
missed 2 big conference calls today, one with corporate.
Oh, did you explain why?
No, I didn't mention that you cooked your foot.
Burn my foot, Pam.
Another great example of this is when it's his birthday and Kevin is waiting to hear back from his dermatologist about a possible, skin cancer scare. He had some mole removed and he was waiting to get the results. Michael cannot handle that he is not the center of attention. He wants the entire day to revolve around him, and to take everyone's mind off of Kevin's issue, insists on going to the skating rink so that he can show off his skating skills, which are pretty good, I'll be honest, and a huge happy birthday Michael banner. Oh, and when he gets upset about not being invited to Ryan's Get to Know You weekend in the woods and does his own Survivor Man episode, that's a really good one too. And I could go on and on for this one, but please feel free. Share in the comments your favorite examples. I would love to read those. Michael is quite an egotistical jerk and needs a lot of attention. If you are following the behaviors and symptoms I've touched on, you could see.
Is she going to get into his childhood about how he was neglected as a child and that's why he is seeking approval from everyone, is because he didn't get it from her parents? That's what I'm putting my money on. Oh, that's right. I put my money on a diagnosis for Angela, but I didn't put my money on a diagnosis for Michael. And so, yeah, a little bit late into that, but I'm going to put my money on a parents who were not as... what's the word I'm looking for? Not as into his life as they should be.
How maybe I could initially believe that Michael has narcissistic personality disorder, thinks very highly of himself.
Is that just everyone in the office? Well, I wonder if the third one was narcissistic personality disorder as well. But YouTube decided that transformative content isn't transformative on Katie's channel anymore and took that one down.
Needs attention, can't handle any threat to his ego. But we aren't finished just yet. So let's see if there are other traits that line up with NPD or possibly another diagnosis altogether. Next up is his belief that his relationships are closer or more intimate than they really are. The first example of this is how he kisses Jan once and immediately thinks that they're in a serious relationship. Do you remember when he calls her for work purposes and says, "I miss you"? And she's like, "What?" And then he's like, "Oh, never mind." All they did was kiss once. Come on, Michael. Or when he first decides that he likes...
He just wants a commitment.
I want a commitment. I want to give a commitment. And I want to have a commitment.
I forgot to take those through the iMovie and turn that volume up. I do recall now that those are a bit low, Baba Booey, wanting to give a commitment and wanting to have a commitment. Very much like Michael Scott, who's just looking to be loved. Yeah, neglected childhood experiences. I'm going to double down on that one.
Likes Holly.
But I suppose that's not what she's looking at. She is looking at what his personality disorder is, not the reasons for it.
He doesn't try to get to know her before telling Jim that he's in love with her. Oh my God. And how he says that everyone in the office is his family, or how he meets the waitress at Benihana and says she's the one, although he doesn't really remember her name and he has to mark her arm to tell her apart from her coworker.
I vaguely remember that one. Yeah.
Oh my God, Michael. So bad. Oh, and also how he proposes to Carol at the Diwali celebration after only dating for a few weeks. And finally,
please don't leave me.
His need to be a part of Phyllis's and Bob.
This is actually reminding me of a psychoanalysis I saw of Beavis and Butthead recently, where they concluded that, yep, a lot of what's going on with them is childhood abandonment. And that's what I'm jumping to here. But yeah, that's not the point of this. Not the why, the what.
Bob, as well as Jim and Pam's weddings. He even gets upset when Phyllis's father wants to try and walk down the aisle instead of being in the wheelchair, meaning that his job of pushing the wheelchair isn't necessary. Oh my God. Sometimes Michael, he's just the worst. And another endearing trait of Michael Scott.
No, you called Angela the worst. You can't have two worst. You're like Richard Christie and his favorite. Not everybody in the office can be the worst, but I do believe that us here on Cohost Audition have decided that Jim and Pam are together the worst.
Scott's is that he constantly makes inappropriate comments about and to his coworkers. First off, he comments on how Pam, like how good she looks or how she should be looking all the time.
Pam has been with us for forever, right, Pam?
Well, I don't know.
If you think she's cute now, you should have seen her a couple of years ago.
What?
Any messages?
And Michael also.
He likes him young, does Michael Scott. Getting a little bit of age on her, he started seeing her to be much more unattractive. And I've actually found the opposite with me for, well, not all women. Some women mature into much more attractive women, but I'm not as attracted to girls as I am to women. So like seeing a 22-year-old who's fucking gorgeous, seeing them at 30 when they actually look like a woman, I'm like, wow, you look like a woman now, not like a girl. Always been completely hot, but now you are a woman, not a little girl.
So objectifies Ryan, of all people, throughout the entire show. And my favorite example of this is when they read his diary in the deposition and they ask who this Ryan woman is and how Michael describes him as just as hot as Jan, but in a different way. Oh my God, Toby can't even keep it together. It's just so hilarious. Not to mention his constant use of the phrase, "That's what she said," which is awesome, I'll be honest. But
okay, that phrase actually really grinded on me because it's funny because it's unfunny. But then the general populace took that to just be funny in any situation. It's funny because it's not funny. It's not funny when you say it in every situation.
There are examples of this are just endless. Also, Michael is incredibly dramatic. And everything that happens to him or things he's a part of, he exaggerates situations and definitely has a flair for this. Whether it's his response to not being invited to the real launch party in New York, or him trying to shove his burned foot into the CAT scan that Dwight is receiving for his concussion. Michael always takes things to the extreme, especially when it comes to his relationship with corporate.
He would have fit in with Extreme Championship Wrestling very well.
Mainly David Wallace. Michael calls him over so many various issues, whether it's about the possible downsizing, his struggle to co-manage with Jim, or his issue being managed by Charles. Every small upset is huge in Michael's
You just have to accept that Charles is in charge. It's been that way since the 80s.
eyes. Oh, and also his response to leaking Jim's secret about liking Pam. Jim talks to Pam, deals with it like an adult. Meanwhile, Michael starts crying when coming clean to Jim about it. He's just so over the top. And finally, Michael is so suggestible.
Over the top. When I turn my hat around, it's like I'm a machine.
If he thinks someone is cooler or better than him in any way, he'll go along with whatever they say. Like the first example of this is how Michael is told he has to fire someone by the end of the day. If you don't recall, he tries.
Borderline person. Oh, that's another video. I was thinking that she was spoiling her diagnosis for Michael Scott coming up here in the next 3 minutes. But that's another video of hers that she's promoting there of borderline personality disorder and relationships, which Dr. Anna has one on as well.
Tries to fire Creed, but Creed talks him out of it. I forget so fast, right? And he persuades him to fire Devin instead. And when Devin gets mad and tells him that Creed deserved to be fired because who knows what Creed does, but he definitely doesn't do any work. Michael wants to go along with him too, but then
There's one small joke in The Office that sticks with me when Dwight calls in the police and saying that there is some sort of drug paraphernalia. And I think it was just caffeine or candy or something. But yeah, the police show up and they're looking for paraphernalia. Creed is at his desk. Very kind of in the middle. I was going to call it very small, but yeah, like not over the top, but just oh no.
Pushes back.
A lovable
I
freak
can't
was
not fire
Creed.
him and fire. And so it's over. So he ends up firing Devin. And a small example of his suggestibility is how Michael mimics Ryan's facial hair. And then after they both cut off their goatees, Dwight finally has grown his out. It's pretty funny. And also, when my least favorite character, you guessed it, Todd Packer, when he tells Michael that if he's planning Bob Vance's Vance refrigerator.
Todd Fudge Packer.
If he's planning his bachelor party, he has to have a stripper. He's like, no bachelor party is complete without a stripper. What are you trying to throw here? Michael goes along with it, even though Bob already told him he didn't want a stripper, and especially not to come to like a workplace party at like 3 p.m. on a Wednesday or whatever in the.
No, you need the after hours stripper party at the workplace. And even then, that can get you in some shit.
Warehouse. There are obviously a lot of other examples, not to mention other personality traits that make up Michael Scott. However, based on what I believe to be his main traits, I would have to diagnose him with, drumroll please,
I don't have a drum roll. You're going to have to accept a rim shot from me instead of a drum roll.
histrionic personality disorder. Because, let me read.
I am unfamiliar with histrionic personality disorder, so this definition is going to be new to me.
The diagnosis as follows. A pervasive pattern of excessive emotionality and attention seeking, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by 5 or more of the following. Is uncomfortable in situations in which he or she is not the center of attention. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Interaction with others is often characterized by inappropriate, sexually seductive, or provocative behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said. 3, displays rapidly shifting and shallow expressions of emotions. 4,
not shallow emotions, just the complete opposite of extreme emotions.
Consistently uses physical appearance to draw attention to oneself. 5, has a style of speech that is excessively impressionistic and lacking in detail. 6, shows self-dramatization, theatricality, wow, that's a mouthful, and exaggerated expression.
Well, when you're dealing with multiple willies at once, it is quite the mouthful. The fact that you're able to do 2 willies at once is quite impressive.
Of emotion. 7 is suggestible, like easily influenced by others or circumstances. And finally, number 8 considers relationships to be more intimate than they actually are. And I believe that Michael Scott has at least 5, if not more, of those characteristics. And also just keep in mind that I would need to see him for at least 6 months, ideally a year, in order to...
You saw him for what, 6 seasons? 8 seasons? You saw him for much more than a year. Oh, you're talking about in your office, not his office. Well, she appears to be wrapping up, and what an educational episode that was.
Pretty neat, huh? Okay, now cue the music and that star thing.
Okay, now I can't fiddle fuck around too long here because I do have a brand ambassador position to get to. So I have got 10 minutes to get to the related TikToks. And first up, we have Ross Geller as seeing what a psychopath he is by taking out the laugh track. I've seen quite a few of these, and well, when people say they have a Ross and Rachel type of relationship, that means they have something that should not exist and is extremely toxic. And Ross Geller, just alone, is a psycho. Let's take a look at, without a laugh track, what a psycho this guy is.
What would you do next? Well, then she'd take the keys and try to jam the video. No. What would you do next? Who, me, the attacker? Yes, that's right. Why? I tried attacking 2 women, did not work. It's okay. I mean, they're my friends. In fact, I was married to one of them. You attacked your ex-wife? Oh, no. I tried. Maybe we could attack them together.
Ross is unsatisfied with how these attack exercises are going through and does not believe they work. Well, doesn't that speak very well for their self-defense classes, that when you tried to attack them, it didn't work? Or it also speaks for how much of a pansy that Ross himself is. And now on to what's her face again? Cassandra, spelled all weird. We have heard from her before, and she is getting into the only type of sitcom characters that there have ever been, saying that there are only 8.
Did you know that every sitcom since the beginning of sitcoms has only 8 different types of characters in them? Number 1, the womanizer and or manizer. They're super flirty and...
She does talk kind of fast. Almost makes me want to take it down to 3/4 of a speed. The way that she's really getting through these very quick to be done in a certain amount of time.
they're only after one thing, sex. They're also really charming, but really cocky. Number 2,
And that doesn't work either. She sounds drunk. So let's go with the regular, normal speed of her just talking really fast rather than her sounding drunk. Maybe if I would have let off with her at 3/4 speed, it wouldn't have been so noticeable that she sounds drunk.
2, the materialistic one. They're super rich, confident, and popular, but they have no idea what it's like to work. They're also
And I swear that Cassandra got a microphone at some point. I'm really noticing now that the sound quality is not the best here, as she is going over her analysis of the only 8 characters that have ever been in sitcoms.
really shallow and spoiled. Number 3, the dumb one. Self-explanatory. They're innocent and endearing, but annoyingly naive. Number 4, the bitch bastard. They're really mean, but really clever. They're brutally honest to the point of being condescending. Number 5, the in their own universe. They never have any idea what's going on. They're pretty eccentric, but they have good intentions. 6, the lovable loser. They're in every sitcom. They want and hope and wish for something that's always out of their league, but they screw it up every time. Number 7, the logical smart one. They're the voice of reason, they have common sense, and they usually keep the whole show grounded. They're also usually the wife. And number 8, the neurotic. They're neat, super high-strung, and overly analytical. And they get really nervous when things don't go as planned. Relatable.
And those are the only 8 characters that have been in a sitcom. If you have got one that doesn't apply to that, rework your sitcom, you twat. And to take us out, we have a good-looking clown lady. This is Robot Liz 2.0. We have got a few quick ones, rapid fire from Robot Liz 2.0.
Do I like what?
Cream pies.
What?
Cream pies.
Cream pies.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And sexy clown ladies like that like 2 types of cream pies. It is multiple types of cream pies. Usually, a cream pie doesn't go on the face, but with clown ladies, they do, while you cream pie another part. And what else do you have for us, Robot Liz 2.0?
I'll let you in on a little secret. The reason my content is so random is because I want you to be just as confused as I am.
Well done. That is a good strategy to confuse your audience, so they will be also confused. And one more quick one from Robot Liz 2.0.
I don't mean to brag, but my videos are enjoyed by well over 4 people worldwide.
6? Well, I've been saying 20 to 30. I believe that is the number for me is around 20 to 30 people, even the lowest videos. And unfortunately, my Jad T. Jones video doesn't even have that minimum of 30 people. And I do want to go back to Jad T. Jones coming up soon, but I am well aware that will be one of the poorer episodes. And actually, I've seen more people on the internet talking about Russell Hartley. Apparently, he is back on TikTok. He is not making any more YouTube content, but that foolish, sad excuse for a ladies' man is back on TikTok. So I will have to try to find him for some TikTok segments. That is all for today. I have to be running out the door very soon to get to a brand ambassador position, a little temp job in between actually picking up a real job. Over on Discord, we ramble on about stuff. What is this game with Annie tomorrow? I will not be able to join due to running off to a brand ambassador, and I will be in contact with my guest for Chatting with Beloved Chatters. May or may not be an episode this week because, once again, brand ambassadorship soon after the show. So thank you all for joining, and now you are free to go away once I find the outro.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Places all join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LS, MFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right to left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LS, MFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.